Hello and welcome once again to Unleashing the Authentic Artist Summit. I am so grateful you have joined us today, and today our guest is Mary Rockwood Lane. Mary is a professor and true healer with the arts. She uses art in all she does, and I can't wait for you to meet her. Truly, our gift and our goal for today is to give you tools, ideas, inspiration, and motivation so that you can be your very best you, breaking through all of the barriers that are holding you back from being your greatest, so you can live authentically, passionately, and courageously. Mary, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, before we start, I'd like to, one of my favorite things to do is introduce the singing bowl, because I've done presentations before, and I'd like to ask all the listeners, and I welcome them to this call, but I'd like you to take a deep breath and go deep inside yourself and give yourself this wonderful time to open your heart, to learn and to receive the gifts that are being given to you. And breathe deeply all the way into your body, allowing yourself to settle into this moment we share together, and allowing yourself to feel your body all the way down, through your body, down deep and wide. So you can feel present, authentically present during this time. Allowing yourself to receive this quietness in yourself and this reflection. So welcome. That was a beautiful introduction. I'm Mary Rockwood Lane, and I'm an artist, I'm a nurse, I'm a healer, and I'm very excited to be part of this summit. This has been, now is the time where we have time to really go to be with ourselves authentically and really reflect on who we truly are and what it is, the gifts that we have that we may not know we have. I'm going to share a personal story when I first discovered art as a way of healing in my life. I was going through a very difficult divorce. I was very, very depressed. I was extremely angry, hurt, had all these experiences of despair. And I was at a time in my life that I could not get what I needed to live through this darkness and this pain that I was in. And it was extraordinary. And I had a friend who was an artist who said, why don't you just make some art? And I had never made art before, and I was sort of feeling very inadequate. And, I'm not an artist. I can't make art. And she just invited me to her studio. And I got oil pastels, and I never had done oil paintings before. And I started painting, and I started painting these portraits that were so rich, so authentic, so kind of horrible, but it was like the inner part of my life was coming out on the canvas. And I was expressing the terror that I felt, the crumbling that I felt. The first painting was like, cut out your heart. I was in so much pain. I couldn't stand, experiencing it. And the painting was my authentic truth that I had never found a vehicle to express in such a completely honest way. And the paintings were mirrors, actually. And I was able to see who I was at that time, even as ugly as I felt. I was able to be honest in my paintings. And when I was able to see who I really was, it was that artist within me that sort of took over. And I became so captivated by my art. I started painting every day, and I painted these portraits, and I didn't care if I wasn't a good artist. I just was letting all this energy, emotion, trauma, everything was coming out in my art, and it was so powerful. And I would paint these paintings and then I'd leave and I'd come back and I no longer felt what I felt, but it was like the painting was a mirror of my experience and it was my truth. And it was such an incredible experience for me that I reclaimed this artist that I didn't know I was. I realized, oh, I'm an artist. And then this artist that I discovered, when I painted this painting of myself and I looked healed, I was like, could it be true? I healed myself through painting, that I'm strong. Like the reflection of myself was a totally different mirroring than I had ever seen in my life before. I was like, oh my gosh, I no longer am crumpled. I'm no longer in the darkness. I'm no longer, it's like I've emerged. And it was like I painted this self portrait of myself, just emerged as a different, strong woman.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. And I ended up going on and painting and I became an artist and I had shows and I did this, but I had been, I had been a nurse and I worked in the healthcare system. And, I thought if this is truly possible, that people could tap into something they didn't even know they had inside them. This is like incredible. This is healing. This is authentically releasing things inside of ourselves. And we have unbelievable resources within ourselves that we don't even know we have until we give ourselves permission to paint, to dance, to write poetry, to do theater. We don't even know these hidden resources that are within ourselves. So the story is I started an artist in residence program in a local university, and it became the arts and medicine program. And I did that in the 90s. And we brought artists and we brought musicians and we brought dancers, and we totally created this program in the hospital. And it was unbelievable how people just would blossom. And many of these people were facing deep suffering and deep pain. So there needed to be an outlet for their grief, for their sadness, for their disintegration and transformation, because art was so transformative. And I did research at the time, and people would say, art is healing me. And I always said, well, what is happening? What is making this creative process so life affirming and so powerful? How is it activating our potentials that we didn't even know we had? It's like it's a journey of transformation where we start one way and we do this creative work in our creative life, whatever it is, and we come out the other side more whole, more complete, more fulfilling our destiny, whatever it is, through our creativity.
Yeah, I love that.
And it was amazing. And people spoke about how the creative process took them into the mystery of who they are. There is a mystery. The greatest mystery is not, it's like, of course, the world is this mysterious income. We can't comprehend what's happening. It's like there's all these unbelievable unknowns, and we're living in this world where we're wanting to understand. But sometimes just looking inside of ourselves is the same mystery.
Yes.
It's amazing what we can discover about who we truly are.
Yes, I love that. Can I go back to something you just said just a second?
Yeah.
I'm just writing down discover who we truly are, because I think that is the essence of true healing and the essence of good art. I mean, that authentic art, right? But you said, I didn't care if I was a good artist.
Mm-hmm.
How were you able to step into that space? Was that just instant and you were like, it just was easy? Or at first did you battle those I'm not an artist words in your head?
Always. I'm not an artist. I had been battling those words for years, actually. I love art. I'm a passionate art collector. I wanted to be an artist, but I became a nurse. And, art was always this, I was always in love with the arts, but I wasn't an artist. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't, I couldn't do, whatever the artist did. I was like, no, that's unbelievable. It's something mysterious to me that they do by magic. And I remember when I was really, really depressed and my marriage was falling apart and my children and I was falling apart. And I had two small children at the time, and nothing I could do was right. And I felt so inadequate. Anyway, I was just like, my life was this crumbling in front of me. And it was like, I remember going, sometimes you just have to step into those feelings of inadequacy and accept that, you're not going to be a prima ballerina, but you can still dance.
Mm.
You're not, there is something unbelievably beautiful about authentically being exactly who you are in that moment. So that is art. That is so beautiful, that it allows what it is you need inside yourself to come out. And I felt like during that time I was in a breakdown and I just stepped over that barrier of saying I wasn't good enough. I'm never going to be good enough. I'm that inner critic that holds us back.
Exactly. All those judgments. Yeah.
Yeah, all the judgments that the most interesting critic is really yourself.
Absolutely.
That is the real critic. Because I have worked with people, thousands of people who make art, and the critic that they're really in a relationship with is their own inner critic. Because I can be in a room with people who've never made art before, put paper in front of them, and everybody loves everybody's art, and the person sort of hides their art and says, well, I'm not an artist. They'll say, well, I'm not an artist. And then they'll come out and it's like, oh, wow, that's cool. It's you. I get it. We see you. And it's this, however it is, it's really a true expression of yourself. And that is, it's beautiful. Even if it's a stick person or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's truly authentic is what we're saying. It's an authentic expression of you at the moment that you're living that is just precious and priceless. So, and I always watch people, it's like it's holding them back and holding them back and holding them back and holding them back. It's like an inner ceiling that just, and then all you have to do is slip through it. Slip through it, like dive through it. Get the crayons and start making or start singing or start writing a poem. And it's magic. It's magic. All of a sudden, there's colors, there's words, there's feelings, there's this creative process that just begins to merge within you. And it's like a wellspring that suddenly, oh, wow, I had no idea that I wrote that poem. And it's the truth because you just wrote it. It is your truth. You didn't make it up. You made it up, but it's the truth. It's the truth of who you are.
Is there a difference? Is there, how do I say this? Because you can create from a place of being rigid and critical and scared. And then you can create from a place of pure abandonment and just going into it. How do you help somebody go from one to the other?
Well, that's a wonderful question. I think it's how do we trick ourselves into forgetting for a moment that we aren't enough. Like I noticed that just relax, just be true to yourself. Just for a moment, imagine there isn't a right or wrong way to do something. Imagine there's just whatever it is you're going to do, and that's all it needs to be. And I think we live in a competitive world where we're always comparing ourselves to other people, or people are looking at what you're creating, and there's this judgmental world. But it's like, how do we go inside of ourselves and love ourselves enough?
I think that is truly the key.
Love ourselves enough to where we know what we truly need is to be exactly who we are in the world. That is your gift. There is no one else who's just like you. There's no one else at their moment in their life that you're at your moment in your life. And by you just being authentic and true to yourself and honoring your expression of who you are, that's really what you need. And that's really what the world needs. And we step back and we witness ourselves, and we witness our own inadequacies, our own judgments, our own criticism. And then I think when we love ourselves, we go, oh, I'm being critical of myself. You know, you become wide enough to accept the inadequacies that we have and love ourselves despite what holds us back and our inadequacies that we feel about ourselves. I remember when I painted that first painting, I stepped back and I was like, oh, it was just horrible. It was pain. It was just distorted, and it was awful. But I looked at it and went, it's the truth. It's my truth right now. And I looked at it and went, I actually began to feel compassion towards myself. Like, wow, I'm I'm really going through what I'm going through. I'm really feeling what I'm feeling. I'm not denying that I'm having these feelings and I'm having this experience.
Yeah, that is that is strength, and that is,
Strength.
yeah. Um, so do you have any tools that you use to get to that place of loving yourself? And is that place of loving yourself constant? And is it easy to stay in that?
Well, in nursing, there's science, I teach nurses how to practice caring, for example. And one of the most important places we start is practicing loving kindness with ourselves and honoring our authenticity. I think the practice begins with, you have to become conscious of the fact that loving yourself is important. It's a discovery. Who you are as a human being is the gift that you have for yourself, and it's the gift we have for the world. And we have to create an intention that you are important. You are important, and who you are matters. And to practice kindness with yourself, to practice being present with yourself, to practice being authentic. The basics of what your telesummit is about, is the beginning, is honoring our vulnerability,
Yeah.
honoring the negative and positive feelings that we have inside, honoring our deep creative life that is a wellspring of possibilities and mystery unfolding, creating environments that you feel safe in and trust. You can create containers of trust, a sacred container in your life, and create sacred space. When you make art is a beginning, that you create a relationship and an environment where you feel at home. And that's really important. And actively releasing the inner critic and saying, I get it. I get this critic. I see it. I feel compassion for it, but I'm going to release myself from the hold that you have on me, because I love myself enough to accept myself just the way I am.
Absolutely. So is there something tangible that you can do
I
to
think so. I think one of the things is one of my practices is I do centering every day. I make a commitment every day, like I did at the very beginning of this talk, is centering yourself and actually cultivating a relationship with the intimate nature of yourself through your breath, through spiritual practices if you have them, through creating a time for yourself every day, whether it's a walk in nature, getting out and giving yourself, asking yourself, what do I need today to be happy, to be cared for, and to be loved? The same way you would deal with a loved one, someone you loved. You treat yourself the same way. And it's really hard because sometimes we're the last on our list, but we have to, and nurses are, I'm working with nurses who are really working at the bedside taking care of people, and it's like, how do we do that if we don't take care of ourselves? And this is something else I want to share that's really important. When you feel love inside yourself, and I've studied heart math before, and it's like, I'll ask you to do this right now.
Okay.
Take a deep breath and focus on the area around your heart and feel your heart area. Actually feel it. And in your mind, think of something you really appreciate. Somebody you love, somebody you care about, your favorite, your pet, something that fills your heart with love and gratitude and just a general feeling of appreciation. And now extend this love to yourself, allowing it to fill your whole body and allowing this energy to radiate through your whole being and feeling the energy going 2 to 3 feet outside of your body. Because the truth is, your heart field actually extends that far out of your body. You have electromagnetic field that is surrounding you and filling it with love. Receiving the love inside yourself towards yourself. And now take a deep breath. Gently open your eyes. And that's the gift you give yourself. And it's so important we do something like that for ourselves every day.
I couldn't agree more. And I've actually added this electromagnetic field of the heart to my practice
Oh,
because
wonderful.
how important it is to connect to your heart, have your heart and mind connected,
Mm-hmm.
and and then express in everything you do and create. You were talking about the intention
Mm-hmm.
to love yourself, the
Mm-hmm.
intention to know that you are important.
Yeah.
When you are creating and you are doing art in a healing way, how important is the intention? Um,
I think what it is, I think the intention is to honor yourself, allowing yourself to express whatever, whether you're doing it you're working as an artist, you're singing, you're making poetry. We need to create a field within ourselves that our presence and really wonderful art, you feel the presence and the essence of the artist. That's why you love it. You have this sense of connection. And I think when we make art, that deep connection with ourselves is so important that it just goes through us. We are the vortex of energy that creates whatever we're making. And it's just so empowered to, like one of the things you're saying about authentic presence, it's the power of the creative artist that has this incredible presence that's able to be in it and see the world through the artist's eyes and see the world at this incredibly extraordinary place that we live in. And I wanted to share, I have a course called Healing with the Arts, and I have over 32,000 students that have enrolled for this course all over the world. And during this time, what it is, it's a simple 6-week module course, or you could take it as long as you want. You can start anytime and you can take it as long as you want. But it's really inviting you to explore art and visual arts and dance and dancing and movement and music and poetry and all the different kinds of, because I think one of the most important things to really activate our creativity is explore what it is that resonates with you artistically. What is it that you just love to do? And for me, I tried watercoloring. Watercolor is not my medium. Oil is. I just am this wild, I like the oils. I like the way they are. I like the, the texture of them. And I think everybody has a certain creative impulse that's uniquely yours. So you need to explore. If you're not good at one thing, that's okay. Just roll it into exploring in something else, and you'll find what it is that you love to do. Because you'll feel like, I love to do this. And that's when you know, wow, this is what I should be doing, because it's making you feel passionate and excited and happy.
That is so cool. Yes.
It's so true.
Yeah. And I love that you are offering this kind of course to help people do that. So here you are, you're a nurse. You have this incredible life-changing experience of artistry and healing.
Yes.
How did you merge them? Was there an aha moment of, I need to merge them? Was it hard? Did a door just open? I mean, how did that happen?
It was an aha moment when I realized that I was an artist, and I realized the artist was a powerful healer. I was like, wow. What this means is everyone is an artist and everyone is a healer. Not just me, everyone. And I thought, if this is true in the medical model in our healthcare systems, we need to bring this in and make this available. Not, of course, not force everybody to do it, but invite them to say, you're at this point in your life. What is it that you're most passionate about? What is it that you wish you had done and you haven't given yourself permission to do it until now? Now you're facing a cancer diagnosis, or you're going through a divorce, or you're here with a sick child. What is it that you need at this time that you can make art as if your whole life depended on it, and it gives you exactly what you need right now? What if you could discover that? And they know what it is. And you just say to them, this is exactly what you need to be doing right now.
Yeah. So did you just start offering it at the hospital?
No, I actually started an artist in residence program. I went to the medical director of the bone marrow transplant unit, met with the nurse managers there. I decided to get my PhD in nursing and study the phenomena of art and healing. And I did a call to artists. And I said, who in this community would like to explore what we can do in the hospital? And, I'd say it was about 30 artists that came, and we sort of were pioneers, like, what's going to happen? We don't know. But the focus was, we wanted to work with patients and family and staff and make art. We weren't art therapists, but we were artists. And we were going to sit with patients and invite people to draw, or invite people to listen to music, or invite them, like, sit down and play the guitar with them, anything, they wanted. And it was like, what does your heart's desire, and how can I help you have this experience? And it was just amazing what a difference it made. Artists should be everywhere.
I agree.
Everywhere.
Truly healing. But what kind of changes did you see?
Oh, well, I started the program in 91. We created an artist in residency program. We had about 8 artists, and we were on different units. And it was a grassroots program, and people got wind of it. NPR came in and did a documentary, and it became this program that just sort of was like, You walk into the hospital and there's musicians, there's a piano playing in the atrium, and there's a whole wall full of beautiful tiles that patients and family had made. And then you go into the pediatric wards, and all the ceilings are the children's paintings all over the ceilings. And there's people who are dancing, and they had concerts on the weekend. I mean, it was just like something, it wasn't me. It was like the time had come. And I simply went, let's do it. And we created this group who just said, let's do this. And we worked in partnership with nurses and the doctors. And, I was a nurse, so I sort of knew and then we started. And now it's 30 years later, and there are programs in hundreds of hospitals all over the country.
Amazing.
It's amazing.
And what did you see from the patients? What changes did you see in them?
Oh, it was beautiful. It was indescribable.
Mm.
It was so moving. It was like the patients taught us what it really meant to them. And when an artist walks into a room, in the very beginning, we're like, oh, we're going to make art. We're going to make a painting. And what you realize sometimes is all they wanted was for you to be there and make art with them. And you realized you moved out of making art as a way of making art, and you realize that the creative experience creates a magical moment where two people are authentically together. That presence of authenticity between one human being and another human being in the creative process is like truly the gift. So what you say about authenticity, that is the true gift in the creative process. And the other thing I would say is when you're truly authentic and you truly are being who you are, your spirit is illuminated. Mm-hmm. The essence of who you are is revealed and seen and experienced. And in those moments of authenticity, you know it because you can feel it in your body, and you can see that illumination in another human being. And to me, there's nothing more beautiful and meaningful than that.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that is just pertinent and powerful and exactly what needs to be said. There is nothing more beautiful than that, to illuminate our lives, illuminate our relationships, and illuminate the world.
Yes.
And we have that power, and coming from that electromagnetic field of the heart, that's exactly what we can do. And the more we can expand that, it really is light shining forth.
It is. It's the illumination of the essence of who we are when we're truly authentic.
Absolutely. Mary, thank you for being with us. You have a gift that you are offering.
Oh, the gift. The gift is my free online course. And it's on a free platform, Coursera. And you can receive the gift. There's a link down below. There's a little postcard that has the Healing with the Arts. Just Google Healing with the Arts and sign on. And share it with as many people as you can, because it is really phenomenal. I have people from all over the world that we have a Facebook group, so people share their art, and it's a way of being in connection with other people who are making art. So reclaim the artist within you, because the artist within you is powerful and is the healer within you as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And yes, that link will be right there in this email. So
great.
Awesome.
Thank you, and have the most wonderful day, and make art and be yourself. That's the most important thing in life.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. And exactly what Mary said, make art and be yourself, and have a wonderful, beautiful day.
Thank you.